And start the recording. Well, she's probably just listening. She's probably on an iPad and a phone or something.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, welcome to Director Bound. We are in our third call. This call is all about how to host coach for bigger and better results. So I wanted to first see, let me share my screen. Hold on, let me tell it I am actually ready to show you guys this, but I always forget because I'm doing it in, there we go. But hold on, now I have to escape because I need to share my screen first. It's not going to help. Okay, share this screen. Okay, let's try this. And then let's go to, where was I just at? Slide, no, arrange, no. Shoot, present, there we go. Welcome. Okay. Sorry, I'm using my husband's laptop because my laptop died about 3 weeks ago, and he doesn't have any of the Microsoft documents, so I have to do all the documents through Google, which drives me crazy because it doesn't have the same stuff where it's at. Anyways, so last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how to book parties from your parties, and then and how to book parties when you're out and about. So hopefully, you guys have been able to do the homework and get some new shows on your schedule. By a show of hands, who was doing that? Anyone get new shows on their schedule yet? Bobby said yes, she did. You got 47 new ones, right?
Yes. Chasing that little grass skirt for Hawaii.
Me too. Me too. I'm trying to figure out math-wise if I can pull it off. So here's hoping.
You will.
So yeah, anyways, anyone else? Julia, Jasmine, I know you guys are doing Boost Your Business, and they're talking about bookings this week and ways to get more bookings. How's that going? As you both have me on mute.
I'm trying to remember if I may have added one since the last time we talked, but yeah.
Well, we just talked on Thursday, so it's been a couple days. What about you, Julia?
I have one. I have the brunch one I told you about, so that's new since the last Director Bound class.
Nice.
So that's all I have. So I only have 2 right now.
Okay, that's okay. 2 is a great start. What about you, Carol? How you doing with getting some new shows booked since our last call?
Trying to unmute you. I have one.
One
Did
new?
I unmute you? Am
Yeah,
I muted?
you're good. We can hear you. You have one new one? Woo woo.
One new one. I didn't want you guys to hear my birds and everybody else.
Give you guys claps for adding new parties to your schedule. Woo woo. That's awesome. Keep going. The more that you get consistent with talking to people and you get into a groove of how to do your 30-second commercial and those kind of things, it's going to be much easier to get new shows booked on your calendar. So this week's class is all about how to host coach. So remember at the beginning, I was trying to help you find a way to track your leads and find a system that works for you. So if you're a paper person, be sure that you're tracking who you're talking to and making sure that you're following back up with anyone who hasn't given you a no, and then just find out if now is a better time and those kind of things. Because when you track, you want to track for results. So this example here says I called 15, I talked to 5 people, I booked 1 show. Yours might look something like I called 10, I talked to 2, nobody booked. Whatever it is, you want to keep working so you have your numbers and you know what your odds are for how many people you need to call to get to your yeses on both booking and adding new team members. Anyone have any straggling team members that are going to be joining tonight before the end of our $29 kit? No, not yet. Well, I'm kind of hoping Pamper Chef keeps that kit around. It's been crazy good for
you.
company-wide. It's been crazy.
I think they're talking about it from some of the others that I've talked to, other directors.
Yeah, I've seen that going around on the director page that they keep asking for it to stay, but to also bring back the $109 kit.
Right.
It'd be interesting. So I guess we'll see what happens next month if it's still around. Okay, everyone do their 3, 2, 1? Remember we were talking in our very first call about 3 contacts a day, 2 shows a week, 1 new consultant a month. When you're following this formula for success, you will earn every single thing that Pampered Chef has. If you're not quite there yet on the 3, 2, 1, the 2 might be what's holding you back. The 1 could also sometimes be what's holding you back. But if you're consistently doing your 3 contacts a day, 15 new contacts a week, you'll get to that 2 shows a week, 1 recruit a month, if that's what you want your schedule to look like. Pampered Chef has that saying, 8 will make you great. 8 shows. Can be all cooking. It can be a variation of cooking, catalog, virtual, whatever works for you. But if you're not there yet, keep working on it. All right, so part of our homework, hoping some of you did it, was to listen to the recording on Pampered Chef University, make it a network. Who has something that was helpful as a takeaway from that call? And I know Jasmine did listen to it because she posted. So I'll put her on the spot first. You're still muted. There you go.
So the part where they talked about like jotting down the places that you go, like I think she said like 10 places, like a list of like 10 places that you go on a regular basis. And so kind of those are your opportunities of, you know, talking to people about, you know, giving them a mini catalog, or, you know, it's not weird because those are the places you already go. So it's funny because it's just kind of like changing your mindset of like, actually, these people see me every day, do the same thing all the time. So I'm not this crazy stranger asking them to, you know,
right,
you know, Pampered Chef or whatever. So I think that was kind of cool because it kind of fed into our boost your business training of changing your perspective. Like if I'm a problem solver, you know, I'm not just this person that sells stuff, then starting a conversation with the people that I actually see. I might not know their name, but I can think of something that we have in common. That was the whole point of like something that you can find in common.
Right. So what were some of the places you had on your list?
Like I don't always take my son to school, but there's certain days that I do. So, and there's like a little path that we go to the back gate. So like that was a thing. But I did find that it was difficult to come up with places. Like personally, I'm at work a lot. So it's just kind of like, I felt a little limited in thinking of places that I actually go often.
Did you add your running group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my running group.
So I can tell you.
I guess like part of it was like, I don't go somewhere consistently. Like my schedule's kind of all over the place, but then that's kind of like, in a way, good because they're so different places.
Right. So just from what I know about you, you have, like you said, you take your son to school on certain days. That's walking, and you're interacting with other people while you're there. You've got your job. That's 2. You've got your running group. That's 3. You've got your book club. That's 4. Right there, you got 4 places. You're almost halfway to your 10.
Yeah.
So you just got to expand. Okay, what else do you do? Do you go to the same grocery store all the time? Do you go inside at the bank, or do you go to the drive-thru? You know, if you're depositing things for whatever. Do you go to the post office? You know, do you have a gym membership? Those are extra places. Do you go to church or activities with the kids outside of that? Are they Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts? Those are going to be the places you're going to be able to expand that network.
Yeah.
So think a little bit outside the box there when you're thinking about not just necessarily where you go, but maybe places that you and your husband and the kids go together. Maybe places that you and your mom go, you and your mother-in-law, whoever. If you have the kids, if you go get frozen yogurt every Friday, Whatever it is, be thinking of little places. It might not be an everyday thing, but it might be, hey, we always do this once a week. We always do this twice a month. And then start thinking of putting those in your path as well. Carol and Julia, did either of you get a chance to listen to the Make It a Network? Julia's shaking her head, nope. What about you, Carol? Okay, did you have a takeaway from that?
No, only just like what she said, it's literally just absolutely remembering the places that you consistently go to and remembering to get the nerve up to talk to those people. It's like Friday, I was sitting at Jump Street, which I go to Jump Street every Friday with my granddaughter. And I sat there with my purse, and I had my mini catalog, and of course they're pointed out. And I'm working and doing different things like that. Am I muted?
No, you're fine. We're listening.
And it's like I talk to people, but then it's like, getting something that's absolutely in common, and then saying, hey, I come here every Friday, you see me every Friday, and I try to sit here and do, while Sarah's jumping and having a good time, I sit here and make my calls, I, look at my catalog, do that sort of thing. So some of them know I do Pampered Chef, but it's like, again, it's getting that thing in common, because I'm 65 years old. They're 25, but still they do talk to me, and they do, but it's a scary thing.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely scary. I mean, if you were to have been at one of my first shows in my first 6 months, you would have laughed at me and said, oh my God, I could totally do this better than her. Because it takes practice. It takes that consistent trying and not taking the no's personally. And this is something I always teach my team. We, especially as women, we take things very, very personally, and we take that rejection like someone is rejecting us. And that's not what they're doing. They're just not the right person for us at the moment to be able to talk to about Pampered Chef. But I will tell you that your 25 somethings either have never heard of us before, or they're like, oh my God, I think my mom went to one of your parties. And that's where that's the groove.
Yeah, I get that.
Because that's what's going to happen. I'll be like, I've never heard of you before. And then you can tell them what you do. And that's when you want to have that 30-second commercial ready to say, well, I teach quick, easy, budget-friendly meals. Whatever it is you want to do, if they're there with young kids, you definitely want to encourage the family mealtime. That this is something that you can get your kids to do with you. We have a great line of kids cooking products. I'd love to show them to you. And then turn it back around to find something in common, because everybody eats. So right there, you've got that in common with them. And if you're there with your grandkids and they're there with their kids, you're working with your grandkids on cooking skills, I'm sure, in the kitchen. That's probably something that a lot of them do anyways. Why not give them the skills and the tools to be able to do it a little bit safer? That's what I was saying. Whoever's little kid. You're fine. Okay, so
that's the problem with unmuting.
You're fine. My kids are playing video games, so I just texted my husband, go shut their door, because they're yelling at whoever they're playing with. So he got up and went, shut their door. Okay, so when you book a show, you want to do these things right away. And I do this right at my show. When I'm doing an in-home cooking show, I want to make sure that I'm talking to them right away at that party, at my full service checkout, about what they loved most about the party, what products are they most excited about, what's on their wish list that they didn't get today. If I will tell you that if you actually get involved with helping them with a guest list within the first 48 hours of them booking a show, they will most likely not cancel on you, as number one. And number two, it gives you permission to send catalogs out. So then they really will have people, to send catalogs, send invitations out, so people will be able to RSVP. I send them out as a service to my host if they give me their list of 48, because it's postcard stamps. Most time they don't give me a list of 40. Sometimes they do, and then I still send them out. But it's a tax write-off. It gets you filling out let me show you. My big old belly in the way. If you give your host this and it's not filled out, what are they going to do with it? Nothing. They're going to hand them back to you and say, here, I didn't use these. So what I do is I actually have a template that I save on my computer. That way I can fill it in and I can print off little labels. So I'm not handwriting on all of these. And then and I will include them in a host packet, or if they book a show at my show, I'm going to tell them I'm going to mail them some of these so they can hand them out. But if they want me to mail them out for them, I just need a list of names and addresses so I can send out their guest list, their invitations. So that's something that you definitely can offer. If that's something that you don't really want to pay for their stamps, then you can hand these to them blank, and then you will get them back blank at the show. But just, up to you. But a personal invitation is always something that's very, very critical for your host. We live in a very digital age. So what happens a lot of times is that they'll text or they'll Facebook message or they'll set up a Facebook event, and then they don't actually take the time to call someone and say, hey, I'm having a Pampered Chef party. I'd love for you to be there, because everything's really digital. But if they take that step to make a personal phone call or a personal connection when they see them in person at church, at the gym, wherever at work, then that's going to help them with their attendance. You also want to find out the best way for you to contact them and when you can talk to start planning their party. So here are some words you could use. Karen, I'm so excited about your party on blah, blah, blah. So tell me, what did you enjoy most about the party I just saw you at? Go into this whole thing we were just talking about. Remember, only about a third of the people you will call will be able to come, so you'll want to reach out to 40 people. How does that sound? What do you think they're going to say? I don't know 40 people, right? Is that what Jasmine's saying? See, I don't know 40 people. So you want to help them brainstorm. There is an old file somewhere. I'm sure it's on one of the team pages. If you do a search for 40 guests, it gives you, it's basically very similar to our new consultant packet, that little new consultant brochure you get. Sorry, I should have had these out. It's very similar to this guy. If you have an older version of this, that's fine. But basically, your launch list is going to mirror their host list, right? So you want them thinking of people in different categories. So you can use your launch list as a starting point to help your host think of people to invite. If she's got friends, neighbors, relatives, coworkers, who are her friends digitally, who does she know through her community events, who's in her phone as a favorites, who does she know through her kids or through her friends, who does she know that's an absolute foodie. Give her different ideas of where to find her people from, and then let something that I do at my shows is that when the guests bring a friend, they get a free gift from me. Now that free gift literally does not have to be anything expensive. If you don't have Pampered Chef things to give away, and at the very beginning of my business, I did not. So I shopped the Target dollar spot a lot. So little magnets, little to-do lists, little fridge, those little fridge magnet things, the little notepads for that, I would load up on those things to give away because I didn't have Pampered Chef stuff yet to give away. Pampered Chef items that I do is I have a mason jar that is filled with like a paring knife. It'll have the paring knives in there. It'll have some of the brown scrapers. It'll have citrus peelers, toaster tongs, Twix-It clips, and they get to pick one when they bring a friend. There's also these other ideas. There's a host scavenger hunt I'm going to show you, and a host tic-tac-toe. So this one's a version of a tic-tac-toe that you can give to your host. For each tic-tac-toe you can offer that she'll receive an extra $10 in free products. Now, if you do something like this, that $10 is coming from you, but really it's going to end up being like $6.50. Because after her host rewards and all of that and her discount, you're only going to be paying the difference on it. But if you're looking at all these things and she has an $800 party, $6 is not a bad way to, give her an extra little goodie. If she has 2 parties booked before the party, if she has 15 buying guests at her party, all these different ways, and then she can't use one, a box more than once. If you're doing just getting one tic-tac-toe, but for each tic-tac-toe, we'll take it. Here's another version of a host tic-tac-toe. And then here it's got where, if you do the whole thing, so it says a bonus square. If you submit your new consultant agreement, you get an automatic blackout on this card. Just some ideas. You don't have to use this, but it kind of gives you a visual for something that you can use as an incentive to put in front of your host. A host scavenger hunt. This is for if you're looking for people that you want to find to host for you. This is a great list to pull from. So I will post this on our Director Brown page. I'll post this page of our slide so that way you guys can see it. But when you're looking for business, you want to be able to say someone who loves to cook, someone who loves to entertain, someone who's maybe a preacher's wife, a teacher, the church secretary, someone who likes to go camping, these different things, someone who loves breakfast food. If you're looking for places like this to pull to ask people about hosting, it kind of helps you to narrow down a little, to talk to. Basically, it's telling you, hey, talk to anybody, but here's some key people if you wanted to have a reason to come back to them. So more words for your host is that when you're talking to her, you want to say, hey, the first thing I want you to tell your guest is, how much fun you had at Susie's party, and that you would love for them to come and see blah, 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 whatever menu we're going to be making, whatever products we use that they loved, come see what's new, because this is going to help them build that excitement for their shows. Also, you want to make sure that they layer their invitations, not just in person, but text works, Facebook message. They can always set up on their party on Consultants Corner. There's a place in there that they can actually do digital invitations to all of their guests as well. And what that does is it gives you access to their contacts with their email addresses, so you can add them to your mailing list even if they can't come to the show. Let her know to invite in multiple ways and to remind in multiple ways also. This is if you want to ask for their guest list. If you ask for their guest list ahead of time, so you can mail them out a postcard invitation, or some people use the mini catalogs as a invitation. You can do whatever works for you. I find that the postcards work fine, but you can do it any way you want. And when you ask for that list and give them a deadline and actually send them out on your side, you'll see an increase in your attendance for sure. These are ways to get her guest list, either, names on labels from her, where she can give you all that, fill in the blank like an electronic list. She can add them to her host dashboard. She can email them to you, text them to you, take a picture of her address book. It doesn't matter. You just want the contacts. So that way you can do the follow-up, because you'll never not do it if it's for your party. It's like, that's where you kind of take a little bit of control. If you leave it up to your host to say, oh yeah, I'll send the postcard invitations out, she's going to get busy, she's going to forget, she's not going to do it. If you take that off of her and offer it as a service, then you'll really see that that attendance increase for sure. The reason why you want the list when your host says, well, why? I've never had anyone ask me for that. Because when you can mail out invitations for her and you can encourage them to bring a friend with them, you're going to end up with bigger attendance at her show. People that got a physical invitation if they can't come, they're going to let your host know right away, oh, I can't come, but I want to place an order. And on here, it's got a place for their shopping link. So if they can't come, they have the link right in front of them to be able to order right online. The other thing is that people who give the list to the consultants to invite for them have $1,000 shows. And that is not a lie. Every single one that I get to give me a list of 40 names and addresses always is over $1,000 show. I'm sure Bobby's right there with me, because we will do more than they will. And it helps to give them, to offer it as a service. And then, when you want to be able to give your host a call and say, the next day, and say, thank you so much for booking a party with me. If you're following the Big Mac calls, the morning after calls, this is where you would put that call as well, where you thank them for coming, where you tell them how excited you are. You can't wait to party with them on such and such date. Just wanted to confirm that date still works for you. How do we only have 10 minutes left? I didn't even get to digital yet. I feel like this call is just flying by. And you want to just make that conversation with them and do a personal thank you. I try to do those on the phone. Not everyone answers their phone. So if they don't, send them a text, find out what way works for them to be communicated to. Remind them to send the guest list if you've already talked to them about that. If you haven't talked to them at the show, then this would be the time to tell them why you want to do that and to get a list to you. Okay, so set a goal for them. I always say that, your host does not know what a good party looks like or what a successful party looks like. So if you say, well, my most successful parties have at least 15 guests in attendance, that's when you're going to get your $1,000 shows. That's when you're going to get the most rewards I can get for you. With the 215 and free, they can still get more free, but 5 half price, whatever it is, you want to make that about them. Help them know what the goal is, and then say, if you don't have 15 right now, that's fine. We'll work to that, but that's going to be our goal. We want 15 there, because I know my odds with 15. Me personally, I'll book 3 shows. There's at least one person who's going to want to join. You'll know your odds as you keep doing this, and you'll be able to say, okay, I want 10 there. I want 12 there. I need 15, whatever it is that you want to make your business successful. That's what you'll work on. If you need to offer an extra incentive, you can. I know that Danielle does, where if they have 15 guests coming, she'll bring a dessert, and she'll make that at their show, because I think Danielle only does 1 recipe at her parties. So that's something that she does as an extra incentive, where she'll bring an extra dessert. For me, I always make a main dish and a dessert. So if they have at least 15 confirmed guests, I'm going to throw in an appetizer, because I want to make sure we can feed everybody. And I also want to make sure that I have enough places for people to be able to play with our tools. But that's something you never have to offer that, but as an extra bonus, if you wanted to, there's always that option. And of course, our hosts, typically people who join Pampered Chef, have hosted before. So if you're thinking, I don't know when to talk to my host, every time you talk to your host, you want to mention Pampered Chef. I know I mentioned last night, but I want, something along the lines of, I think you would be wonderful as a consultant with Pampered Chef, and it would be terrific to have you as a part of our team. I'd love for you to go get coffee with you at my favorite Starbucks, because Julia's working there. I love it there. And tell you a little bit more about our business. What do you think? Or this might be the furthest thing from your mind, but I think you would be great at this business because you love to cook. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? So effective host coaching, of course, attendance, outside orders. If they know someone who can't come, get their order before the show. Encouraging them to bring a friend. Inviting potential consultants. I will tell you that whenever I take, and I need to get more people to come with me to shows, because I feel like anytime I take a consultant with me to the show, someone signs up at that party. So feel free to come and observe. And I think it's because people realize they're not in this alone, and they have someone that'll help them and train them and teach them. But seriously, shadow each other's shows. You'll learn something new every time that you do that. So virtual parties, we're going to go over this quickly because they're going to cut me off in about 6 minutes. For virtual parties, there's always controversy between events and groups. Do what works for you. I personally use events. I like that my host gets to invite people and they can decline or accept, versus groups where they invite people and people get invited to a group and then they leave because they're annoyed. That's just me. It's my personal preference, but I know in groups you can schedule and events you can't. So it's really whatever works for you. Try doing one of each and just playing with it and seeing which one you like better, and then go with that. But you definitely want to encourage people to be attending. You want people to be active on the show, so you want to do engaging posts that get them to talk back to you, so it's not crickets in your virtual parties. And then encourage them, of course, to invite their friends. There is a host tic-tac-toe version for virtual parties. The get 30 plus people to click going, that's only if you're doing an event, not if you're doing a group. Groups, you can't see who's going or not. But then it's got other ways that your host can find, get that tic-tac-toe from you by doing a virtual party. You can always offer things like, hey, this is a 1-hour booking special. You schedule a party with me in the next 6 days and you're going to get this guy for free. if you're in a virtual party and you're looking for a way to plug bookings, you can find a ton of these visuals on the Pampered Chef virtual party pages, doing a Google search. This is something you can send to your host as a great way to show her what her job is, to be enthusiastic about her host, to broadcast, like share your event, tag people on the post. That's what I tell my host to do all the time, to comment. I want them going live and participating. I let them know your friends don't care about me. They're here for you. So they want to know what's going on in your world. They want to see what you're cooking for dinner. They want you to go live and show them your favorite products. I can tell them all day long, but I'm the salesperson. They care about you. So this is another great example of what you can send to your host as a way to have an amazing Pampered Chef party, and giving them words to say, helping them figure out how to get those orders and what to do to share to be successful. Again, I can post all of these graphics at some point this week, I'm sure. I started doing this thing where I put all of my hosts for the month into one group chat on, these are just other visuals. I do them as one group chat on Facebook, and I did it in September and loved it. My hosts were helping each other. I was tagging them on different things. I was doing all of my host coaching. Pampered Chef has visuals like these, the host tip of the day, that you can pull out from Consultant's Corner and send them to your host as a way to say, hey, encourage each of your friends to book a party. You get an additional 50% off. You both have a win. So then they're doing some of this work for you. Another host tip of the day, send your party ordering link to friends who are not on Facebook via email or text. This will help get outside orders. So there's all these different host tips of the day that you can share with them digitally, text, Facebook message, whatever, to be able to encourage them. And that's what I was doing with my party hosts, is I was saying, okay, your tip for this, between now and the end of the weekend, send me your wish list. So that way I can help and know where that's at. And then I would say, okay, over the next 3 days, find a time where you can go live and show some of your favorite Pampered Chef products off. And my hosts, I had 9 hosts, 4 of them did everything I told them to do. And those 4 all had shows over $600. My highest one right now is at $1,200. I submitted an $1,100 one and a $900 one, because they're doing what we're telling them to do. So if you tell them, hey, if you do what I'm asking, trust me, they care about you. They don't care about me. Okay, so we are working on promoting to director. So if you're thinking, oh, it seems so far away, you've got this. All it takes is one day to, or one week to say, who would be great at this? These 4 people. And then you all work together as a team to promote, and then you'll be just fine. So this week's call to action is to practice what you're going to say to your hosts, try to make 24-hour phone calls with every host. Once you book their show, call them within 24 hours to start planning. Always, every time, is to make 15 contacts a week. So between now and the next time we talk, and probably will be Bobby Lynn talking to you guys in 2 weeks, I'll most likely have an infant by then. So I'm not sure how much sleep I'll get, but I'll try to chime in. So 30 calls, 30 contacts between now and when we talk again. If you have not started a power hour yet, try it. You'll love it. Sundays are the ones that work best for me, because it's usually a more laid back day here in our house. But if Sundays don't work for you, find a day that does, that you can give yourself an hour to plan for your week, to book shows, to talk to your recruit leads. I know for Carol, that might be Friday while they're jumping. That's her power hour. Work it. And then there's on Consultant's Corner under training and resources and director bound call 3, there's make it impactful. So that's going to be the recording to listen to between now and the next 2 weeks. And we do not have time for questions. So if you want to do questions, chat me up on Facebook, and I'll post this information so you guys have it all there. That's pretty good. 45 minutes. Whoop, whoop.
Bam!
Bam! All right, it's going to kick us off. Love you guys.
Yay!
Hopefully you learned something. And I'm going to end the call because it's going to make me in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have a great rest of your night.
You
Bye,
too.
guys.